Everyone, welcome to another edition of Domains and Degens. This is episode 3 with another one of our beloved partners, Cordao, of course. Before we continue, before we get started, the views expressed in the space are entirely that of individual guests and do not necessarily represent D3 or Cordao. Of course, this is non-financial advice, so do your own research and let's get started. I feel like I kind of hate having to say that all the time, but I think legal might be behind me or something. I don't know. I don't know if it actually happens or not, but I guess it's a thing. I'm Manny, product manager at D3, here alongside my co-host, colleague, Domain Shane. Shane, my brother, I saw this weekend you were active, picking up more crypto-themed domains. The grind never stops for you, my brother.
Yeah, I was on all weekend doing spaces, talking domains, talking the future, talking about business models. This is what I love. This is all I do. I
don't know if that was me cutting out or not, but you were all weekend doing the same thing. Okay, so no Father's Day for you then, I guess. I would say Happy Father's Day, but I guess you were too busy with domains. We also have Fred, founder and CEO of D3. As always, thank you, Fred, for joining me. And I'll quickly introduce our main guest of the day, Brendon from Cordao. I've gotten a chance to meet Brendon now a few times, once at Dominion in Vegas, our very own conference. And then I just saw you now at Consensus. Thank you for that sweet swag. Thank you for putting on a nice little event for us, giving us some coffee to start off our days at Consensus. Brendon, thank you for joining us, man.
You bet. Happy to be here. Good to hang out with you all again.
Yeah,
this time
sure.
Virtually.
this time virtually. I'm sure we'll meet in person.
Funny enough, I'm in Vegas.
Again,
I'm in your home office town.
You're roasting?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for World Digital Mining Summit. So back at it.
Nice. I love it. The grind never stops for you either. Brendon, I'll continue with you, man. Again, thank you for taking the time. Give us a brief overview of where Cordao stands today. I know you're traveling for more summits. Mining, Bitcoin is your main thing. What progress have you guys made in the ecosystem over the last, I don't know, say couple months post-halving? I know that was a big event for the Bitcoin community. Where does Cordao stand today, and what new things can we expect from you guys?
All right, chill time. No, just joking. I'll give a brief brief overview of Core and just kind of where we are at. And so I'll just kind of take it from the top. So first of all, I'm Brendon, one of the initial contributors here at Core Chain. And the way to think about Core is we are a Bitcoin, we're a layer 1 chain that is Bitcoin powered and fully EVM compatible. And to kind of tee that up, the thinking behind Core is as such that there's this growing demand for Bitcoin with the ETFs that have just been launched and this non-sovereign store of value. More and more people want Bitcoin. And then with the launch of some recent upgrades with Taproot and the launch of ordinals and now runes, there's clearly this demand to do more with your Bitcoin. And what that's done is kind of increased fees on the main Bitcoin chain and also kind of shown some of the obvious limitations of the Bitcoin network. What it does really well. It's this very secure store of value, but it's clear that folks want more. So you've kind of seen these Bitcoin scaling chains launch to help basically enable smart contract use cases on another chain, being very aligned with Bitcoin as Core is, and kind of unlock this $1.5 trillion of market cap of Bitcoin that's kind of just been sitting around. So yeah, that's where Core comes in. We're again an EVM compatible chain with a 1-to-1 peg with Bitcoin, so you can bridge your Bitcoin back and forth. And we have a ton of great Bitcoin use cases on the chain. So you've got money markets, DEXs, derivatives protocols, soon runes marketplaces, kind of all these great use cases with Bitcoin that you can't do on the main Bitcoin network. You can do so on Core Chain. And we have a really interesting consensus. So I mentioned I'm here at Vegas. we bring a bunch of Bitcoin participants into the ecosystem. So first of all, we've got miners. That's why I'm here now in Vegas. They help secure the chain with their mining hash, about 55% of which are already participating in Core, helping secure the network. And then what's really cool, you asked what's new. About 6 weeks ago, we had launched a Bitcoin staking product and kind of expanded our consensus to include Bitcoin stakers. And basically, you can take Bitcoin, you can stake it non-custodially without leaving the Bitcoin network. So you keep your keys, you have the peace of mind of seeing the Bitcoin never leave your wallet, but you're issuing a time lock to yourself, meaning you can't access your Bitcoin for a specific period of time. You delegate that to a validator on Core, and you earn block rewards. So you can think of it as almost like this bond rate for Bitcoin, like this no risk rate, and very excited about that. So in terms of what's new, since launching that, we have about 200 million staked. We launched a public ETP product, or Valor did, I should specify, not us. We are powering the yield and collaborate on it that way. And we've got our Ignition program, which is an airdrop campaign. By the way, if you buy a D3 domain, you're eligible for bonus and an allocation in that incentive program. So highly recommend. That's a great way to get involved. And yeah, TVL has grown a lot. We've got a lot of great builders. I think the ecosystem generally is just very healthy. So we're excited because we see real traction and usage on the chain as opposed to just, shock TVL numbers with no usage. So we're pretty proud of where things are going, but still have a lot of ways to go. But that's I think what's new at Core.
Yeah, I love that. You have so much going on, and every time we tweet about our partnership, et cetera, on here on X, we always see the core Toshis or the core fanatics. Your community definitely comes out and shows their love. So yeah, we definitely see you guys growing. Fred, I'll go to you. I know in the beginning for us creating the new internet with strong partners, et cetera, our core thesis at D3, no pun intended. We want those strong partners, right? And immediately we flocked to Core. We met Brendon, we met Rich. These guys obviously shared the same vision as us. Like, why was it so? Why did Core attract us so much? And what about them makes us or makes them such a good partner for D3 and us going forward?
Yeah, great question. And it goes back to when I saw you and Rich, Brendan, out in Austin a few weeks ago. I couldn't help but remember something that you told me, which was, "Hey, you guys have been a long-standing project for a while. You talk about core values. I mean, we've been in the domain industry collectively for probably about 25 years. We love projects that basically are not just sort of fly by night. And granted, no offense to all the Bitcoin, new Bitcoin projects, Bitcoin L2s and stuff coming out. We love that a lot of these companies are thinking about innovation in the space, right? A lot of them getting VC funded and stuff, but there's still some risk at stake, right? Standing power and aligned values between the core team, the core contributors, and us as OG domainers has just made a lot of sense. And like Brandon mentioned, we're happy to participate in the Ignition program. For a lot of the other partners we work with, this type of value add, having kind of a universal namespace tied to you, whether you're an individual, an org, a business, even a miner, or even a person earning mining block rewards, it makes a lot of sense to identify yourself in this world. So I think it makes a lot of sense for us to just be these long-term partners. We're happy to be working with you guys.
Yeah, agreed. And I remember because we have this thing where we want to cover like all our bases when it comes to Web3. We want to be in every ecosystem, every chain, etc. And we want to make the UX not just for the chain, for the apps, the consumers much better, but we want everyone to just have a great experience doing whatever it is they want to do in Web3, right? So getting this Bitcoin exposure specifically here for us is obviously huge. Brendon, I'll go to you again. Like the overview. Tell me a little bit about maybe what you see these names. Obviously, we're in the thousands sold now. We've. I'll get into the marketplace, the release, etc. But some of these, I'm in the Ignition chats in Telegram, etc. And we post once, people kind of just like flock and start talking about. So you have so many developers developing things in the core community. Like, how does that feel to know that, you know, you're attracting these devs, you're attracting more apps, you're building, you're scaling, and now people have ways to identify each other on chain. Like that has to feel good from a contributor standpoint.
Yeah, we're excited. I think the builders are choosing core. I think because it's EVM, but also I think there's just like a really good strategy here to support builders. So that's exciting. We're humbled by that. Thanks for noticing that and sharing it.
Yeah,
Um,
a
for
hundred
sure.
percent. You can also, because you mentioned kind of this BTC Fi thing that you guys have going on, right? You announced staking. I know even at Dominion, when we were getting into the very beginning of this, we had questions on security, like, all right, Bitcoin staking, etc. I don't know if you're the first to tackle it or not, but people are super hesitant to stake any of their Bitcoin. This is like the holy grail when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Speak a little bit of maybe about the security behind some of this stuff. You mentioned non-custodial. It's yours. It's still in your possession, but staking with vested interest, etc. Like it has to be really secure for it to work. Why does Core make it work?
Yeah, 100%. So it is a good question. And there was a, this is in the video, by the way, of the talk. I think that was like the first question. And, I think what I had said was, would you have thought Bitcoiners would be spending Bitcoin on JPEGs uh, even a couple years ago? And I think I was like, fuck no, right? Probably not. But you see some of the leading NFT collections now on Bitcoin, and folks are using Bitcoin to buy those. And definitely think that over time, it's not for everyone. There's different archetypes in the Bitcoin community, but folks will want to use their Bitcoin for things. Um, and at core, like with BTC Fi, definitely see a bunch of different paths for folks to use their Bitcoin. And the first natural path was which was kind of considered by the contributors from the start is just including Bitcoin in the consensus and having a no risk option. Because if you think of Bitcoin, it's completely miner driven. There is no native yield to holding Bitcoin, the asset. And the thinking was, um, Bitcoiners can be brought into the core ecosystem with this no risk approach where they basically can't, how they actually stake is they don't need to wrap, bridge, or move Bitcoin to any other chain or to core. They basically can issue a time lock to themselves in their own Bitcoin wallet for a minimum of 10 days, but folks have staked for much longer. So you're giving up the ability to, use your Bitcoin, but you have the peace of mind of seeing it in your wallet and that it never leaves. So you're never giving up the keys. And I think that's really, really powerful. And within that, you specify in the hash header which validator you'd like to delegate to in an address, and you earn Core's block rewards. So you're securing the chain with Bitcoin, the economic security of Bitcoin, and you're earning block rewards for doing so. So this is like one of the terms is kind of like the bond rate for Bitcoin, right? It's like the lowest risk yield possible. And I think what you'll see over time, there'll be other high risk things that, we'll launch a Bitcoin LSD. There'll be different trust assumptions. There's folks that have probably crazy degen opportunities that'll come over time too. And that'll be a bit different, but you'll see kind of like this platter of different offerings that'll depend on people's risk tolerance. This is a great first step in that it includes Bitcoiners into the, at the consensus level in a non-custodial fashion that's completely riskless. And so yeah, I think that touches on the security piece. And again, I should mention we've already had 3,000 Bitcoin staked and launched helped co-launch the world's first yield-bearing ETP that's publicly available in brokerage accounts, and more coming soon. So it's clearly resonating.
Yeah, so I guess my next question is the vision then to, because you also mentioned runes and ordinals before, is like have Bitcoin have this full on ecosystem of not just maybe NFTs and trading JPEGs, etc., or runes and ordinals, but also have DeFi options for people to actually use, feel safe about using, get some yield back on their Bitcoin. Because like for the most part, every time I hear someone holding Bitcoin, it's just, oh, I have it in a hardware wallet in like my closet, and I don't plan on taking it out ever. You know, um,
Yep.
is the vision to have more of these things? You mentioned LSTs as well too. Like there's so many things that exist maybe on Ethereum, on Solana, et cetera. These chains that are innovating at such a fast pace. Like, is that the vision here too?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, you just kind of think of it as this huge pool of liquidity that has historically just sat around. And there's always going to be folks that will just keep Bitcoin in their hardware wallet and let it be. And that's okay. But there's a there's a significant portion of folks that will want to do things with it and may not want to sell their Bitcoin to borrow against it, or may not want to go through TradFi, buy an ETF and borrow against an ETF with a bank and get fucked because they give you a shitty loan ratio, or they don't let you borrow against it whatsoever, right? So definitely see key that there will be key Bitcoin use cases in the future that are not possible in the Bitcoin network that'll be facilitated by Core, and see that as a huge liquidity pool that even just with small numbers, it's a huge amount of liquidity. And we want to enable those DeFi use cases. We want to bring, like, we've already brought this bond rate to Bitcoin, but definitely see other other like on-chain use cases for Bitcoin, and we want to facilitate that.
Yeah, Shane, I don't know. The traditional domainer keeps yapping in my ear about how Web3 has no utility for domains yet. I don't know, man. Brendan makes a good case right here. You continue purchasing names, crypto themed names at that. Like this has to feel good for you. Little by little, we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been the case that the use case for domains was going to be above and beyond emails, even building websites, digital identity, decentralized identity, um, proof of participation, and that's what I was going to ask Brendon is, would you consider this the staking of self-custodial Bitcoin? Would you call it proof of ownership or proof of participation or proof of support? What's a terminology you use when it comes to that, since it's not truly staking anything? How do you call it?
We call it like basically delegated proof of stake,
Okay, it's something that we've
and that
discussed
you're
internally.
delegating, yeah, delegating the basically, I guess, like the economic value of your Bitcoin to one of the validators who then get elected based on that. But the staking does work somewhat differently, mainly due to the limitations of the Bitcoin network. But this is kind of the best strategy thus far. Is like you're basically locking it and unable to use it, so you're giving up the ability to use your Bitcoin, right, or to move it, access it, etc. But it's in your wallet. Similar, like if you're staking some other token, like Ethereum, right? You're staking it. You're giving up the economic. I don't know if economic value is the right term, but you're giving up the ability to use it, right? As you
Yeah,
stake it.
no,
So kind of trying to replicate that.
yeah, it makes complete sense. I was just curious, like when you're describing it, when we talked in Vegas, my hardest part was you were sitting next to Braden, and talking to a Braden and a Brendon was a brutal task. I laughed with my wife when I got home. I said, it's literally one of the hardest conversations I've ever had, because I'm sure you get called the wrong name all the time, but having two people that look exactly alike, I mean, you guys were almost twins with almost the same name and having a conversation after a couple drinks. But I totally get it. I was just trying to think of what the terminology is, because we see a future like that with domain names as well in our big DNS system of people that have ownership of domain names, and proving that they have ownership and validating and using that. So it's a similar concept
That's
where you don't have to
interesting.
give up. Yeah. So there's a business model and a model there for many things, especially in the system. So it just, I think that ownership of domains and assets in general, and that's where I'm really getting to, the ownership of assets has value, and that value should be used for liquidity. And immediately after you talked about it, I went home and thought, okay, how do I participate? And if you don't feel comfortable, there's always core, right? So I'm a mailbox money kind of person. If I have assets, domains, Bitcoin. I want all those assets to yield. And so I think the reason I'm excited about this is one section that wasn't really an opportunity for most to yield and to get that, as I say, mailbox money.
Yeah, and I got to add one thing too. I can't help. The reason why we started this company is because being both an NFT degen plus a crypto degen plus a domainer, I've been telling the team there's a lot of similarities. Just like degens are domainers and domainers are degens. We just we just miss each other's paths by 10 to 20 years, right? But very quickly, when it comes to sort of like holding your domains, your most prized assets under 2 or 3 layers of locks at your registrar, it's a very similar construct, right? As keeping your digital assets, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, in your physical wallet versus delegated proof of stake model as well, right? It's essentially it's just protection. You want all the yield, you want all the long term benefit, you want to be able to use it while having all the protections behind the scenes. I see a lot of immediate use cases for this demographic, right? So the two can kind of gracefully complement each other, I believe. It's just about waking the world up to core and waking the world up to some of the partners like us you've been working with.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, like there's a lot of similarities in the sense that Bitcoin for the longest time has been, an asset or a community with that really just, I guess since crypto moves so fast, a lack of innovation, right? The things Core is doing now, like it's so great because they're bringing that utility to Bitcoin, which for the longest time, was kind of stagnant, which people like. I think that's what the appeal of the quote unquote virtual gold or whatever. But in domains, we see similar things, and it's another industry that for 20, 25 years has been pretty stagnant. You just buy a domain, create websites, or if not, you're like Shane and Fred, just flipping domains, holding on to assets for a long time, and no real liquidity in the thing. Like Fred, share maybe like some of the thoughts we've had internally, some of the features we want to incorporate, what's new at D3, and because there are similarities. It's two industries that are pretty stagnant per se. They lack innovation, but I mean, 2024, that's changing.
Well, I think a reason why a number of domainers are. I'm sorry, go on. You asked Fred or Brendon? My bad.
No, go ahead.
Go.
I'll jump in after Fred. I want to hear your thought.
Sure. Yeah. One of my friends, he's one of the world's largest domainers. Actually, a few of these friends, right? They constantly go back and forth between Bitcoin and domains. Sure enough, if not if not domains, it's Bitcoin. They've removed everything else, other business opportunities, real estate. Uh, uh, I'm sure strange vices. They're we're very close with one domainer whose only purpose in life is his family and Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin as an index toward domains, right? So one story I had is another domainer I was speaking to 2 weeks ago. He used to be an old client of mine, go nameless. He actually wants to sell more of his domain names because he wants to put it in yield bearing stuff, like Bitcoin, right? You don't the one thing that's not as optimal today, at least in domaining, is that you can't really get yield off of your assets, right? You can't earn something based off of just holding it. The domainers that I know, and I'm sure Shane knows the same, will carry some of these marquee names like to their grave. Like we know the owner of hockey.com, right? And it's been in a locked registrar status. You could probably see it. It's all public who is for like something like 8 to 9 years. Imagine if that same asset were basically somehow be able to kind of get an ongoing yield, which is why I love this core concept, right? The two industries, the two target demographics go hand in hand. It's the same, in my opinion, just different tech.
Go for it, Brendan.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I don't think this really clicked till this conversation because you guys are kind of advancing your thoughts on where you're taking the platform over time. There's like the obvious use cases from the start, but now what we're talking about is, you got the again, similar like the Bitcoin piece, you got this latent demand or sitting amount of collateral, right, that people want to do things with without necessarily giving up ownership. And it seems like you guys are going to facilitate a lot of these potential use cases,
Uh,
especially as people who are in this situation, right? The last 20 years.
yeah, to us, it's 1 + 1 = 3, right? I don't mean to pat myself on the shoulder, but Fred.core is a valuable domain name. I don't care who you ask, Web3 person or a Web 1 person, right? Same thing for. One day there will be an Amazon.core, and we know how much Amazon will pay for that, right? Roughly,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think again we're trying to unlock a lot of these use cases, and the reason why we're so thesis driven or three thesis aligned with you guys is because you see this world of you can get more from your assets, right? Than just sort of having to sit around in your custodial setup, right? And just like you guys, we're also just at the beginning of utility, right? We're also looking forward to all kinds of stuff and app developers that you guys will produce, plus people, of course, who will build on top of D3 too.
Yeah, I think our common ground between both of us or all of us is we're trying to extract value and yield out of assets, assets that people own that that are proven value and wanted value by others that we don't want to give up, but we still want yield. And the fact that we own these assets and that we can validate that and prove that we own them and lend that validation to others should be rewarded. And we're figuring out ways to do exactly that.
Yeah, so like taking like Shane, and I'm gonna throw Shane under the bus here. You probably have domains you own for like, I don't know, 7 to 10 years or something ridiculous, which one day you hope will make you money in some capacity. But say for like the Bitcoiner that's also held forever. Granted, you've done pretty well just holding, but it would be even better if at the same time you could have some sort of yield, whatever the percentage might be, coming in at the same time. Like I'm sure that has to attract you somehow, Shane. Like if we can come and I know what we're doing internally, right? But if I can, like, I don't know, tell you, hey, you're hockey.com that you've held for 9 years. Well, now going forward, I don't know, you can get 5% somehow, or maybe use it as collateral somehow, or et cetera, et cetera. That's got to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've sold domain names for Bitcoin that I have them sitting in my Trezor wallet. And again, my Bitcoin is my prized possession. So it's the same with my domain names. I own hundreds of domain names that I think are worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Would I like to be able to go into DeFi with that asset and have it secure and trusted, yet take a loan? I'm not sure, Brendon, if you've ever crossed Aki Balaf's paths. He's using BTC for so you can do loans on DeFi platforms and putting them in an NFT. Those are the kind of things I foresee in the future with domain names, and and I see us excuse me, putting them up for loans. Obviously, if you don't pay them back, you lose your asset. But at the same time, there is value there. Right now, we have that market, but it's an antiquated market where it's two people that you call up or you email and they give you a price, and it's just like a 1930s backyard or back room deal. It needs to be on chain and it needs to be under contract and under chain. And it's just something that I see the future of all assets, getting back to what we talked about, the ability to take out loans, the ability to fractionalize, the ability to get yield, and not just from parking, not just from getting traffic ads. Fred did an amazing job with that, but it is time to move beyond that and even more forms of yield.
Yeah, love that. All right, so cool. This partnership obviously started. I think back in February. Here's where core names have gone since we've announced that partnership. We announced it in February. Soft launch sometime in March. with a full launch in April. We did the core community. I mean, at every step of the way, we've been engaging with this core community, and they've been super welcoming to us. So we're very appreciative of that. Last month, we announced we launched D3 Connect, allowing projects to integrate these core names. Core scan integration is also underway, so thank you for the folks there. And I'm sure some of the users may have seen that. I saw some banter on Twitter. People are sleuths. They know, they see everything, so they're well aware. We introduced wallet mapping, which paves the way for users to use their name as wallet identities. And then we recently launched our marketplace beta, which is just an early version of our marketplace, but soon, sometime in early-ish July, we'll have our V2, which is our full marketplace release. And of course, Core will be front and center there. So, I mean, we wanted a good, strong first partner for this marketplace, and obviously Core fit that bill. It's great to see not just the names being scooped up and now being used little by little as we roll out all these features, but it's to say that since February all the way here, look what we've done, and now what we will continue to do heading into the end of the year, of course, in partnership with Core. So we think Brendon, the team, whoever's on that Core DAO team Twitter, thank you guys as well too. You guys have been fantastic. Brendon, let's go a little bit deeper into the BTC5. So you guys announced staking. What other products can you maybe shill for us a little bit that you guys have in the pipeline? I know this is some of the most exciting stuff we've seen in Bitcoin, I don't know, for the last 10, 15 years, but and maybe you don't want to throw your hand out there, but what else do you guys have in the pipeline that you can maybe share with us today?
Yeah, I can share some nuggets. Let's go. Let's do it.
I love it.
All right. So, and these are all pretty much public. So, I think they may have been shared by Rich. So I think the next step, like with this risk-free rate of Bitcoin, or something that that Core is excited about, is the staked, like an LST version of this Bitcoin. Um, and obviously think of it similarly to staked ETH, in that you still got all the security of ETH staking and yield, but then you had a derivative that you could go use for other things. And the trust assumptions will be a little different, but very excited for this Bitcoin LSD, like a staked Bitcoin that you can use on chain, that's earning this base yield coming from Core's consensus. And I think that's going to be very powerful. It'll probably just become the base level Bitcoin token on Core chain. And it'll also open up a lot of opportunities for like bigger protocols and brands that have some sort of yield component for Bitcoin that can allocate to it, and use it to deliver great products to customers, whether it's like Bitcoin savings accounts or restaking tokens. I think all of those can possibly be built on top of Core's yield and an LST. So we're almost like the foundational yield. So excited about what kind of products are going to be built there. I've definitely talked to like 10 plus restaking platforms and folks that want to put this yield to use on chain. So I think that's going to be really exciting, and bring like a whole host of Bitcoin use cases actually on chain. Other than that, like where we're at today, we're seeing great traction with co-lend, a money market on Core. It's simple kind of lend borrow. I think borrow against Bitcoin is probably one of the killer use cases. Like I don't think you don't need 100, 200 use cases for Bitcoin on chain right off the bat. I think if you just do a couple really well, it's already a very sizable opportunity. So borrowing against Bitcoin, I think, is a big one, and then some sort of Bitcoin backed stablecoin. There's also Bitcoin derivatives protocols like NLX that are really cool and have been watching. So just seeing what the builders are coming out with has been really cool. They're kind of seeing the mission and ethos of Core and kind of running with it. And they're the ones truly building the value for Bitcoin holders and users. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I love that. Brendon, you're like the ultimate speaker, because I remember when I first joined, Fred loves when you say all the trending buzzwords and you just rattled off LSTs with restaking and all this stuff like that. That's what's trending now. That's what
Yeah,
everyone's talking about
yeah.
on these things.
There's a lot of folks wanting to do eigenlayer for Bitcoin, uh, which is interesting.
Oh, that's funny. And of course, that'll go through. I don't know. Somehow you'll have that on Quora. You're the ultimate speaker for stuff like this. I love it. Yeah, we always talk about like what's trending at the moment, what people would like, what's actually useful. I think some of the applications you see across the ecosystem, like some are just not even that useful. And I think when you talk about LSTs and then trying to make Bitcoin or that yield used on chain, that's fantastic. Obviously, I think the use cases will come into play there then. But are you like just inviting everyone per se, all devs per se, or is it just are you guys selective on what you really push on the chain? Do you want stuff that's mature, useful, not like these random gambling sites, etc.? Like what is your ideal like app profile on Core if you could make one?
I love you mentioned gambling sites because I'm in my hotel and like right here is this huge lighted up billboard about gambling. So I'm like, yeah, maybe we should. No, no, it's but no, I think like Core is a permissionless, open blockchain that anyone can build on. There's, really funny NFTs that have launched. There's been some, pretty interesting gambling style games. So frankly, it's like builders are going to build whatever, and I think that's really great. That's part of what's cool about open tech is they could just run with it and get access to multiple million people on the ecosystem. Um, However, we are most excited about Bitcoin utility. Like, definitely see that as the mission of the chain. And it's hard to be everything to everyone. I think chains are probably figuring that out. Um, but like Core is trying to become more focused on Bitcoin utility and Bitcoin use cases that can be enabled through, potentially this staking. Obviously, as bridging tech gets better, it's going to make things a lot more seamless. But yeah, kind of again, just more focused on Bitcoin use cases. But all builders are welcome.
Nice, love that. The partnership has obviously started great, but it's not all as easy as we make it seem, Fred, right? We always mention that how we need to abide by certain rules, regulations, requirements, etc. The big boys at ICANN are always watching this. So I always like to sneak it in here of what processes we have to go through. Obviously, we have to prove community, etc. And obviously, Core has that. But how grueling is this application process? We always say because we can sit here and talk about all the good things about Core, good things about D3, our partnership, etc. But it's not as easy on the surface. So maybe talk about that for a little bit, Fred.
Yeah, the I was just on a phone call this morning explaining to somebody, as far as ICANN, again, I'm not ICANN. I don't represent to be ICANN. They are made up of 200 governments out there, 500 people, well documented processes and stuff. Number one is about education, right? Education to Web 2 people about what Web 3 is, and also education to Web 3 people about what Web 2 is, right? That's the mission, one of the core missions of what we're after. But more importantly, I mean, ICANN wants to know what Core does. They want to understand the community, its longstanding nature, its roadmap, right? These are people at the end of the day, right? Uh, in addition to all the formalities, paperwork and paying fees and stuff. Uh, Funny, going back like 40 minutes ago, this past weekend, I was actually entertaining a bunch of people from several Web3 name companies who were asking a bunch of questions and tagging me and saying, what's this process and what's their process? I'm like, number one, like I said, I can't speak for them. I can't speak for ICANN. But number two, common sense and history will always prevail. I mean, you want to align yourself with people who just have who have their shit together, right? You're getting keys to the internet. There's a reason why there's not a million .coms out there. I'm sorry, a million top-level domains out there. There's less than 2,000, right? And this stuff only happens once every 1 or 2 decades. This might be the last time in the history of the internet that they're going to do this again. So you just have to go in with an education mindset, you know, uh, strength of team mindset, innovators mindset, in order to be successful, from my opinion. And all those things we obviously see in Rich and Brendon and the whole core contributing team behind the scenes.
Yeah, and we often think about like obviously we think about this TLD round and when it's coming, et cetera, and all these applications, but when we see that first one go through and say like, holy shit, like core is now on the DNS, it resolves in web3, it's a wallet address, it's everything in one. um I think that's going to be the moment where it's going to hit all of us here.
And it's an RWA.
Correct, and
You
it's an
know,
RWA,
you
right?
talk about buzzwords, sure. Let me let me throw out some more. It's stake. It'll be stakeable. It'll be an RWA. I'm sure there will be DeFi lending, borrowing lending cases around it. You can. It's not just going to be a 3-trick pony. It's going to be hopefully a 30-trick pony, right? And we just need a lot of that thinking going to this. Sorry to cut you off.
No, and you're so right. I think people often, when you talk about RWA, they think about something like physical and tangible, but like
Yeah. Michael Arrington's apartment, famous apartment that we tokenized from 5 years ago, right?
exactly.
But guess what? You just brought on my. I can remember. I warned you guys. I can go on for hours about domains. What do you think is better about tokenizing? And why would you tokenize Manny? I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Would you rather tokenize, say, a domain or an apartment? If so, why?
I mean, a domain for sure. I could access my liquidity instantly. That'd be fantastic. I can trade them instant finality. That's fantastic. You can't really do that with an apartment. Um, I can't have you, for example, move in immediately and me get out immediately. That doesn't really work like that. Also, if I have a Fred.com and I could sell it to you for say $1 million, I get it instantly and it's instantly transferred to you. I mean, no brainer for me, right? I could
Oh,
also I could
I thought
also
you were
use
gonna
it
add.
as collateral too, right? I could do a million things with it.
I thought you were gonna add some funny comments about dealing with your garbage bill, your sewer bill, your uh, your local government, state, city paperwork, the city assessor, appraisals, all that other shit, right? But yeah, totally.
Yeah, you have to abide by, way more rules than me trying to sell my domain name at the moment. So, yeah, you're totally right. And I think that the distance between those two examples will continue to grow once we have that one interoperable identity for everyone, right? Where Brendon.core eventually will be not just, Brendon's email, Brendon's website, could be used as decentralized ID on any platform, whether that's Web3 or Web2. I love this. I love it. I mean, for us, it's obvious use cases, but then again, if it's valuable, you can do many things with it. Shane, I love your thoughts on, because we've said, all right, core, Shib, we're about to launch Ape. We talk about Ape a lot, and obviously you guys are gonna probably fight for all these .ape names in the beginning, but is this one where someone should say like, hey, when we were early to .coms and 99, 2000, whatever it was, is this similar? Is that the vibes you're getting, or how are you assessing this time at the moment?
Well, I think domains are the original digital asset. I mean, before there was any crypto, there was anything else, there were domain names that people were buying and selling in 1991 and 92 and yielding through parking. So it's really, we're kind of proving the model. What we're doing a little different is we're working with Core to get them a top level domain, and in the ethos of blockchain, we build shit and break it, right? We build it, it doesn't work, we go behind the scenes. You're not allowed to do that with top level domains. It can't be broken, it won't be broken, it hasn't been down in 40 years. And so, just like Fred said, we're handing the keys, or they're handing the keys to trusted sources, and those trusted sources can't show any flaws. You can't have been a bank robber and all of a sudden want to decide that you're going to run a top level domain name. So that's very important. We take that very seriously, and at the same time, we're also Degens, and we want to break some shit. So we want to do and try and build, and we love what Brendon's doing and the fact that you're bringing new utility. the thing that people have trouble understanding is when we're talking about what it can do, we don't really know. That's the beauty of these assets is we will be building things that we never conceived of in 10 years. We'll be doing things with our domain names and with our Bitcoin that we're not even touching on here. To me, that's super exciting. And people, they want to say, oh, you're just making things up because you don't know what's coming. No, that's why we're here. We know what we can do. We think it's worthy enough to participate and put all this time and money into. But just as exciting are all the great tools and utilities that are going to make all our digital assets and our assets even more valuable. And that's taking what we're all doing here and that's pushing the envelope.
I don't know if I'm the only one that this has happened to. Brendan will probably get a kick out of this, but have you guys ever tried transfer? I'm sure you have. Have you ever tried transferring Bitcoin to another wallet or account or whatever? It's the most. I'm not saying it's hard. It's just so stressful because if I mess up, man, do you know how valuable what I'm sending is? And it's just like I remember doing this, and I was so scared to even press the send button for this exact reason. It's just like, please, like you send so little just trying first. The transaction takes so long generally. Obviously on Core, much faster, I assume. And um, I love that we have a hand to play in that situation as well, where now I can't really misspell, Brendon.core or StarCore in our case, or Fred, and any name is much easier. I can't be the only one that's happened to. It's pretty awful.
No, 100%. I bought an AI name, .ai name, about 3 weeks ago. This person only wanted Bitcoin. I don't blame them. I know them, pretty friendly. Like, will you take wrap Bitcoin? No. We take it. We take it on some other network? No. Can I send you USDT? No. It's just like, I'll give you one address only. You make sure enough Bitcoin's there, you get your product. All right. Test transaction. Second transaction. No, I hear your pain. Double, triple, quadruple checking the fact that that long Bitcoin address is legit. Yeah, man. I am going to say this is the reason why there needs to be an easy core names. You know what I mean? Something .core, many.core to resonate to your point.
I love it. The whole time we've been running a little core name giveaway. If you saw there in the background, we do have our winner. That'll be Uncle Crypto, Uncle underscore Chains. By the way, that's a pretty cool name, Uncle Chains. Wait, Shane, is that your is that your burner or something? Don't they call you Chain?
No, do you know that
Oh,
story that I have domain chain?
still bitter.
But my other name, I have domain chain, CHAIN, because that's my Latin name. So I have both of them. And now 15 years later, domain chain actually has real value instead of just a burner name.
I
That's
love that.
awesome.
Uncle Chains, feel free to message D3 account. We'll hook you up with your core premium name. Thank you guys for participating. We obviously, or at least at times, we like doing the Q&As at the end, but I don't know. Lately, they've kind of been rugging us a little bit, so we'll leave that for next time. I'll go around the horn maybe for some last words, and then we'll take off again. Brendan, thank you for being here. We'll start off with you. Any last parting words?
Yeah, sure. I didn't really touch on why we chose D3, but
Yeah,
I'll
go
just
for it.
quickly say, pumped to be working with y'all. The decision was pretty easy one on our end. Like very excited about this vision you guys are putting together, and hopefully we'll work together on that with Core. But even just taking a step back, we're really excited about .core domains and even out, enabling our community, having that on CoreScan is all going to be incredible and all these use cases, but it's also, I just think, going to be a great domain that folks will get access to. And as someone who ran a startup before and had to buy a five not digit,
Five
but like,
letter.
yeah,
Okay.
five letter domain. Yeah, it's a letter. These aren't alphanumeric codes like crypto just is. Yeah, 5 letter domain And going through that negotiation, it was very eye-opening, how valuable these assets are, and they're very limited, and I think more and more people are going to start consulting companies and businesses. So that part alone is just really exciting. So yeah, we're really pumped on this. Want to see our entire community eventually get access to some sort of domain and make it easier to interact and participate in the core ecosystem with said name, and hopefully bring a lot of net new people in to blockchain to core through traditional avenues of getting the domain too. So yeah, really excited about the partnership. Again, I would say now is a great time to get one of these before they're gone. You're basically investing in digital real estate, as they say, but well before it's available and before all eyes are on it. And then secondly, it's part of the ignition program. So we're actually providing bonuses for folks that acquire a D3 domain, and that will be embedded in Scan soon. So go check that out. It's a great way to get involved in the ignition campaign, and really pumped to be part of this space. Thanks for including us.
Yeah, thank you, Brendon. You've been fantastic, and great words there. We'll go to Shane, and then we'll close it out with Fred.
Yeah, no, I think that the thing that really excites me is are the partners. I got into domains and blockchain because of the possibilities, the new tech, the great people, and the forward thinking. And so that's why we partnered with Core. Is we partner with people that are forward thinking, that are aggressive in their nature, that are doing new things. And I love listening and learning from this because I know about domain names. I know what their value is, but then adding partners like this that are teaching us new value and new things that we can do with them. And so again, this is something I'm really excited about. Is every new partner we bring on comes with a different approach, ingenuity, aggressiveness, and pushing the boundaries. And so I look forward to working with Core and many new partners in doing similar things.
And just a quick word. No, I love the domainer in me. I can't feel like I'm going back, back in time. If I had a .core, you know, name, I would definitely rank it up there with an XYZ or .com or certainly a .net, which seems to be a little bit antiquated. Of course, seems to be great as a lifestyle brand, as a community, as a tech, as a lifestyle moniker. Nothing makes me more happier than see something that's actually crossover Web 2 and Web 3 together. So 1 + 1 = 3. We love Core.
Love it. Thank you for that. Awesome. Just in time. Thank you so much for Brendon and the Core team for stopping by. Of course, Shane and Fred, you guys were fantastic as always. We'll do this again hopefully next week, right? I think we have some travel schedules mixed in, so have your eyes peeled for when domains and Degens will be back. But otherwise, thank you guys for joining. Any questions, direct them at the D3 account. And of course, everyone have a great day. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. That was a great chat.
Thanks
everybody.
again.
See everyone.
Stay cool, Brendon, in Vegas.